Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Thank you to my followers. Please hit the likes and subscribe. Don't leave until then. We're trying to build an integral Habs channel here where we give you the facts, reviews on the games, and what's going on in Montreal. A lot went on last night with the Sens being in. It's October 2nd, and it was October the 1st. The Sens were in Montreal, and all hell broke loose once again, as we know. Please share this video as well with your friends and family. Please also keep an eye on the channel. This channel, I'm just making all my followers aware. This channel will be taking a step forward in changing the software, so you will see it will be upgraded because there's a lot of uploading issues that make my job long, and there's things I can't bring up vids and videos to show you plays and stuff like that because of this particular program. We'll be able to do stuff like that with under the new program, and we'll be able to go to live, which is even more important. But it'll help on our graphics of our page as well, thumbnails and stuff like that. So anyway, with that being said, last night Senators were in town. I'm not even going to bother going through the stats. You can look those up. 4-3 was the final score. I only get 30 minutes for these tapes, so this is about the 4-3 take. So with that being said, it was a 4-3 victory. That's closer than what it looked. Thankfully, that fifth goal didn't count because Primo was so out of place, and Primo was awful last night. And if Montreal's not thinking clearly, there's no reason Dobich should not have earned an opportunity at that job. Way better than what I've seen performances out of the other two, period. So I think he should have a crack at it because I think I think already he's better than Primo. That's easy. Well, and he played better than Monty as well, but could he take the lead role? That's up in the air. I definitely think he's definitely the number two. I think we've had enough experiment with Primo getting his game together, and you can say it's just preseason. The continuation of it flaring its ugly head up, of his positional play and lack of tracking the puck. Time to move him. That's my opinion. It's time to move on. I don't care what anyone's got to say. Yeah, he improved overall in the season last year, but still showed that he had glove issues. He shouldn't have glove issues and blocker issues. He goes down far too soon. It didn't track and then has tracking issues, has placement issues of where he should be. It's time to move on, especially when you got a young talent that's showing what Dovis showed. I hope Montreal has the wisdom to use this kid and give him a chance. He deserves the chance. He's worked for it, and you can see it in his play. He may be your starter if you give him the chance. Because you need somebody to push Monty, and Primo's not the answer. What I seen last night was horrific. We could have won that game. We outshot him 32-16. That's ridiculous that we lost that game. And I'm being generous, and I'm also including, the fifth goal that was taken away, and he's lucky it was offside because he was so out of place, out of position. All those goals, he might have been lucky if one of them looked like it should have been a goal. That was more the team's response. Yes, a lot of power play goals, but either way, he should have had a lot of those. Sorry, it is what it is. I think it's time to make a move. Or to be thinking about it, give the kid a chance, give Dobish a chance anyway, and see if you have to. If that requires, if he outplays him, then it's time to make a move, trade him. I'm talking about Primo. If Dobish earns that spot, it's time to move Primo. End of discussion. That was a disgrace what I seen last night. I've defended him when he played well last season, but he was showing in his bad moments all the same signs. Well, last night was a disaster by him. Anyway, now we get into the cheap shot by Greg on Doc. Here it was 2 games in a row. You're trying a star player being hit. Not only was it a cheap shot for head hunting for his head, which should have been penalized and misconduct, and probably should be a suspension, just like Jack Ice should be. I think they both should be, because there was a fist in that as well. If you slow down that tape, that Greg punched Doc in the face within that hit. So, with that being said, disgrace. Greg's not isn't a crappy type of player, dirty player anyway. And thank God at least he ballsed up before not wanting to when Doc came back to the game. Thank God. And it was nice to see Doc put the boots to him. Looked good. That's the way things are done. Jack has the right heart and intention, but just taking too much on his shoulders. The team, you see how Kachuk went after Jack That's what we needed to do. When the incident happens, I don't care. This team's got to have a meeting, and they all need to be told that. You need to respond when the incident happens immediately. If it takes all four of you on the ice going after them, then you do. If you're not brave enough to be the toughest guy, then you all do. I don't care. It just needs to be a response immediately. So you don't have Jack running around ripping people, going head to head on. Now, I don't necessarily think he was head hunting totally. I just didn't like the hit. I will live with what Marty said, that just size. I'll go with that, and wasn't looking to go as a star player either way, whether it was or not. There's a better way of doing it. You can go after the star and just keep hitting them cleanly. But Jack is in a position, his camp has been terrible. He's not where he was after coming back from Laval. Last year, he was starting to look good because he was working on his game. Came back with a better mindset. He's right back to where he was before Laval last year. He needs to go back to Laval. At this point, I'm sorry, Struble, to me, has been one of the stronger defensemen and deserves that spot until Jack can come back. Because we all know, and that's why I love Jack. He brings an ingredient. We need that ingredient, a big bruising defenseman. We need that. But he's got to get his mind back in the game. And he needs Chris Nyland to reach out to him. And that's the type of guy we need. We need an ex-NHLer to reach out to him that did that job. And Chrissy's the perfect candidate, as Pierre McGuire mentioned on Tony's show. Perfect candidate. I'd like to see management reach out, and because coaching staff is probably not going to don't offer that. So get him some help. Let him spend some time with a guy who proved to be a good player, a great player, and was the enforcer, knew how to do that role well. I think Jack Hyde needs that injected because right now he's running around like a hothead and making a lot of mistakes, and maybe it's because he's trying to do too much and has too much on his shoulders. Same thing with Pizzetta being the next guy. Shouldn't come down to just those two guys. This needs to, don't give me the pack comment when you're not acting like a pack. It might be starting to happen slowly, but it's not where it needs to be. The whole team needs to step up. It needs to be an immediate response so you don't have incidents of this being later in the game and you see the penalties kill us, because those type of penalties, it's one thing for it to happen in preseason. That had happened in a season game, Marty would not have been a happy man. And, the relationship doesn't look the greatest between Jack and Marty. That's not going to help the matter. So, unfortunately, I love Jack and I want him back the way he was and working on his position because he can become a better defenseman. He's got to work at it. He should have never thought he was comfortable, and I think that message was almost mismanaged by the reporters. He should have always been fighting for the position, working at his positional play. And that's what hopefully Pascal can get him back onto that in Laval. Because I think he needs a little time down there. And unfortunately, he's placed himself in that role. Well, Strubel's going to be the guy that take his role for a bit. And Strubel would have been one of the guys in the rotation of three guys you might have juggled. He's not anymore. He's clearly going to be Matheson, Hudson, and Strubel, the way I see it, and Gooley, Savard, and a rotation between. Now, Mayu has actually worked his way into the equation of staying in Montreal because he can be rotated with Barron. And Barron actually had a strong game last night, but Strubel was the best defenseman out there last night. The way he hit Greg, that's what should be happening. So and I'm talking about out of the kids. That's the way you do it. If the guys aren't going to respond at the appropriate time on the behalf of their teammate, then you make the guy punish the guy the rest of the night. And if you want to punish the starters on their team, punish them along with them. But that's how you do it, like Struble did. He showed intelligence, and that's what Jack needs. And I love you, Jack, but you need work. You can, and I honestly think you could become a second pairing defenseman if you focus. Right now, you're running around like a loose cannon, and you're not working on playing positional, and it's showing. And you can't run around like a loose cannon like that. You have the right intentions, but it can't all be on you. There's a time for it. And only thing I'm figuring, I'd love to hear that explained by Jack Eye. His response when Kachuk went after him, did he turtle up only because of what just happened the game before with his suspension? So he didn't want to anything more habitually to go. You're already in jeopardy of another suspension just for that high hit, and Greg should be too. You both should be. Both of you deserve a suspension for those hits last night. There's no other way to chalk it up. Is what it is, and it shouldn't be one without the other. Look at that Greg hit closely. Punch somebody in the face too. Glad Doc put the boots to you, and I hope there's more to come to you during the season. There's ways of getting a dirty player like that. And I do want to know from Jack. I hope he gets interviewed and asked that question. Why did he turtle up? Was it due to the previous suspension? Because I've seen him mixed with or Kachuk before, and in a situation where he could have put the boots to Kachuk, but it seems like it's always Kachuk, and he doesn't take him on. I hope he's not turtling. Does he have a bit of side of turtling? I want that answer because I didn't like the look. It doesn't look good. It didn't look good when Paré did it. It didn't look good when Greg was running away from owning up to it, but he finally accepted it and got his butt kicked. But that's how you do it. And the right guy got him, Doc, himself. That's the way it's done. But at least he finally, as dirty of a player as he is, he deserves a suspension. So does Jack Eye. But Jack Eye needs to be sent to the AHL. Unless they can have that conversation as a group, get Chrissy working with him, and get him focused on working on his position and get the team, because you also need to talk to your team, Marty. And that means Hughes and Gordon should be seeing this too. That team, you got a little touch of being like the pack, but not enough. Nowhere's near enough. When the incident happens, there needs to be a response from whoever's on the ice. If it means all the other four players have to go make a response, then you do it. That's a pack mentality. Somebody, just like Kachuk just showed you from Ottawa, that's how it's done. But I do want to know because that didn't look good last night either. And I'm only assuming your excuse was after taking a suspension, you didn't want to take it any farther. I can live with that. But I would say I would take up that rematch with Kachuk because it's Kachuk's somebody who's taken some cheap shots in his tango with you that I almost seen you step away from that, and I think I don't understand it because you've taken on bigger competitors and tougher competitors than that. I'd like to know that. That's just my curiosity because it didn't. That turtling over stuff looked just like Pere. So that being said, now we get back to it. Good to see Doc came back and got a goal, and great. I love that Kapanen goal because he didn't give up on the play. I just still think you got the wrong line mates for Kapanen. If you want Kapanen to fill in and go on and stay in Montreal, you got to give him better wingers or better line mates. I just wanted to, shockingly for me, Heineman was really solid last night. Played a real strong game. So he's definitely looking like either he could make the team or he's a call up, one of the first guys you call in an injury. Because we know Harvey Pinard should be back down in Laval when he gets healed. So to me, Kapanen should have the spot. A lot of people will say somebody should be somebody else. I don't agree. I think it's in pecking order, in my opinion. Kapanen, Heineman, and Beck. They're kind of close. I think Heineman's doing a little better job and that's probably because he's been ahead in the game. But Beck, I just think he needs a year in Laval. I think he's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. I just think he needs a year in Laval. That's all. And I think the rest of the guys that they're not even talkable about. Tuck needs a year in Laval, although Tuck will be fine. I think in a year's time. So with that being said, let's give Kapanen some line mates. And great news. So happy that Lonnie's only out for 3 to 4 months. Much better, or 2 to 3 months. What was it? Anyway, by December, they're saying December, January. Yeah, I think it's 3 months. 4 months, yeah, around there. Anywho, it's a lot less than Reinbacher, which Tony Marinaro was totally incorrect on and bragged about how his contact gave. And you see, that's why other reporters were saying, "Why are you coming out with this? Are you sure what you're saying?" And Tony just couldn't hold his tongue back. And I'm a Tony fan. So don't take it personally, Tony, but you got to own up when you're wrong. And that's the one thing you seem to have an issue with. You brag a lot if you're right, but I've seen you be wrong plenty of times. I've seen you be right. But whoever gave you that information, boy, were you wrong. But loose lips sink ships. You ever heard of that term? That's why I don't like people running their mouth until the organization speaks up. And that looks so good because I have problems with other networks that they don't have the experience of you, Tony, and they make this mistake continually, running their mouth. But you with experience, you should know better. So sorry, I got to call it what it is. And you sure didn't. I watched you last night too, and you didn't own up to it. Be man enough to at least own up to it. Hey, man, was I ever wrong? Maybe I got to talk to that contact. Don't be so in a hurry to run. Oh, I know, because I'm the expert. You got better opportunities for connections up there, no doubt about it, because you're living right in Montreal and you're a radio broadcaster that a lot of us followed. But that doesn't make you look good. And it doesn't make it look good when a guy's too proud to admit when he was wrong. Just saying. And I do think Pierre Maguire is correct that Jack Eye needs a guy like Chrissy Nyland, perfect candidate to help him out. And I think Montreal's management needs to reach out for that because it would be an awful shame to lose what Jack Eye brings. Because he's going to lose it if we don't get him help to know how to do his job. He needs to learn how to do his job. And Montreal as a team needs to get not a touch, a pack mentality. Total pack mentality. Can't just be on Jack Eye and Pizzetta. It just doesn't work that way. It's great that they're there to police things to a reasonable degree. But when action happens, the players on the ice that are with that player it happens to need to respond immediately, like Kachuk did. So with that being said, and I'm going to say Primo was a nightmare. I pray to God that you're smart enough to give Dobish the opportunity he deserves, because I think he might steal one of the two's position. He might outplay them both, because so far to me, he has outplayed them both. But neither way you look at it, Monty needs to be pushed. And yes, Primo improved a little bit last year, but he still showed signs of upper body, like glove and blocker issues when the team shot high, and broke down at moments. But he did better last year. But what we seen last night was all his lack of tracking the puck, his lack of focus, being out of position. It's all rearing up, and that shouldn't be coming out like that. He's lucky that goal was taken away, that it was offside, that fifth one, because he was way out of the net. He did not look good on any of those goals. Yes, they were power play goals, and we can't have, that's why I'm saying we can't have Jack Eye doing what he did because it's costing us in penalties. But man, a lot of those goals shouldn't have been in on a good goaltender. That looked so amateurish. It looked like the two fellows that were in rookie camp. Sorry to say that. That's what it looked like. And they got an excuse because they're way behind in development. You're not. A lot of time's been spent on Primo now. To me, Dobish made it clear, don't just send him to Laval. Give him the fair crack, and if he earns it, who's the better of the two you keep with him? Who gets the first and second role? You figure that out. Right now, it's looking like Primo should be moved if Dobish wins the spot. And then you let Monty and Dobish duke it out for the number one and number two role. That's my thoughts on that. And I'm so happy, and we should all be in Habs Nation, that Tony Marinaro's report was wrong. Let's be thankful, because Lonnie, 2 to 3 months or something like that, that's a lot less than what Tony was saying. That was supposedly the injury that was a notch up on Reinbacher's. Boy, did he get that wrong. And Reinbacker, sadly enough, I feel bad for this kid. He's just not catching the breaks. He's going to put him a year behind in development because next year he's probably going to need to be a full season in Laval. Sad. Not looking good. And if the rebuild, as Jeff Gordon was stating, the way we are in time, if the pieces of the draft part, which you could understand, are all the pieces are there, but now you got to figure out who's good enough and who's not. Or our right defense is showing no one's stepping up there. There's candidates. I mean, there's time for development. They're still not fully had their time. Barron's got the edge because he's had more NHL experience, but Mailloux needs time. It's not to say he won't, but at the time, if you got to make trades, you might want to trade for a right-sided defenseman with some of these pieces at some point. Because right now, I think my projection after that I made before all of these injuries, I am now thinking I was wrong at saying 86 points. I think we might fall. We could be in seventh from the bottom, the way this is all handing out, which would give us a good draft, but that's going to take that player about 4 years to get to where he needs to be. So that's just, you can't count on that. You just got to almost start trading some of the pieces that we got too many small players. That's a given. So the rest of the players that are you can trade that do have some talent, the Farrells, the Kidneys, the guys like that, and the Trudeaus. These are guys that you can place in packages and start moving those pieces to get what you need. Yeah, you still need a top six forward and you need a right defenseman to upgrade, to add to the pieces of your picks you've picked in the drafts. But now you got to start getting players to fit into the puzzle as well that are already around that maybe you can get your hands on. So we got to think of that, because right now you're looking at a rotation. There's no doubt to me, where it stands right now. The rotation should be between. The Struble looks like he'll fill in for Jack-Eye unless Jack-Eye's given a little bit longer to get his act together and gets somebody to talk to him, because the kid can do it. I know he can, but he's not focused. And is it that he's taken on too much and the team's not doing what they should do to be a pack? Combination, maybe, but he's definitely not focusing on working on his position better like he was when he came back from Laval. He's playing like he was before he went to Laval. So another trip to Laval, I don't think would hurt him, unless you give him a little bit longer and you can get through to him. He shows the signs. But other than that, it looks like you got a rotation between Mailloux and Barron on the right side. It looks like this opened the door for Mailloux at the moment, and Jack-Eye may be the man that has to go to Laval to fix his game up, then come back. And we don't want to lose that specimen permanently, because he's an ingredient we truly need. I mean, as tough as Struble is, he still doesn't bring what Jack-Eye brings. And I love him because he showed you his smartness of how to punish somebody. That's smart, and that's what Jack-Eye needs to learn. But the Montreal Canadiens as a team need to learn pack mentality, and it's got to be immediate, and we can't have coward ability showing. So with that being said, there's a lot of issues here, and Ryan Backer, I wish you the best, kid. I hope you recover well, and I hope you shock us all and come back 100% better. You had some good signs. You needed a year in Laval, though, but you had some good signs of going in the right direction. But that injury's wow. And like I say, for reporters who want to report information look like big shots, and I can like these people, got to call you out, because when sometimes your pride sits in the way and you can't admit you were wrong, and maybe you should have held off on your tongue and let the organization speak first instead of being a know-it-all, doesn't look good. So thank you for joining us here at Center Heist. Hit the like, subscribe, tell your friends, family, share it. And like I say, this channel is going to be taking some bigger steps forward in the very near future. In the next couple of months, you'll see it when it happens, and I'll tell you when, because we'll want to be going live as well. So that'll be fun. But at that, until the next game, and I believe we have Ottawa for one more preseason game. I'm very nervous with what we've been seeing in these last couple of games. We don't need any more injuries, and it would be nice to see some normality. Might even be a good move if some chance Jack doesn't get suspended or whatever. I think it would be wise to give him the night off that next game. Just calmer heads, let him settle down and start thinking about things. Again, I think Pierre McGuire's onto it. Reach out to Chrissy Nyland. I think this kid needs a role model of a guy who's done it, proven commodity, and done it well in his career. So, with that being said, thank you for joining me. Where do you see the puck drop first? Here at Center Ice. Thank you for joining me. Till the next game. Let's hope it gets more positive. I mean, it's positive news. Good thing that we're going to see Lane back sooner. That it's only a sprained knee. I'm so happy about that. And Kapanen, let's put him in the right role and give him the right wingers because I do think we should keep him up. That's my opinion. I like what I've seen out of Heineman as well. I like what I see. I just think Beck just needs a little more time in Laval. But I think and Wall looked good. But again, I think Kapanen's ahead. I think Heineman and Waugh and Kapanen and Heineman are next, and I think Beck's after that. So I think there's some time needed in Laval though for them. And I'm so sad because my favorite player right now is looking like he needs time in Laval. Jack, come on, buddy. You showed you can do this. And I think you can be a way better defenseman, but you got to focus on that. You got to learn how to be a pro and how to do those two different roles. All right. Thank you for joining me. Puck drops here first at Center Right. God bless. Share the video. Hit the like, subscribe. God bless. Till the next one. Let's hope there's a little normality after that.